syndicat, the French Syndicate of Electricity in the special region in France is the Vendée. And he will explain in detail the project, Smart Grids in the Vendée. And I would like just to start the presentation there. Okay. Okay, Nicolas is involved and to manage this project, and he will explain different part of this project, and which is a large-scale experimentation. This is like a demonstrator in the region of France, in Vendée, and to develop some future markets for power electronics. And after this presentation, it will be also my pleasure to welcome an expert from Alstom, Laurent Schmidt, to talk about the return of experience in these smart grids in terms of power electronics. But this is now time to Nicolas to present the smart grid Vendée.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting me at this presentation. I'm very honored to participate in this assembly. First of all, I'd like to say what is the SYDEV? SYDEV is a local authority who works in the area of energy. You must know that in France, the property of the distribution grid belongs to the local councils, and it is a partnership with ERDF, who drives and invests in the grid. So in Vendée, which I will present to you, we have quite a strong dynamic in the energy transition. Within about 10 years, we have developed 6 wind farms for about 50 megawatts, 36 solar plants, and all this is the initiatives of the public authorities, and this creates a strong link to the people, to the territory, and it is, from our point of view, the major issue to implement the change in the system. So I will present you Smart Grid Vendée, who won the support of the government, and it is kind of a baby of a conference that was held by the Professor Jean-Luc Thomas and Abdelkrim Ben Chaib from Alstom about 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, and is now starting 3 months ago. So why Vendée? Where is Vendée? Vendée, as you can see on the map, is a department of France, in western France. It is about mainly 1% of France. It's 630,000 people, 20,000 kilometers of distribution grid, and its consumption of energy is about 5 terawatt-hour, which is 1% of France. And we have 9% of intermittent renewable energy, which is about 2 times the average intermittent renewable energy in France, which is about 4%. And this production has been built in less than 10 years. So our issues are, as André Merlin said, all about new technologies and information of communication, and what it can bring to the grid, to the distribution grid. We are not talking directly on the transport grid. We are on the medium and low voltage. And as you know, 95% of renewables are connected directly to the distribution grid and not at the transport grid in France. So the issue is the growth of renewables, the connection to the grid, the demand response development, how can we increase the flexibility of consumers, and the new business models. So the issue for the grid, as André Malin said, is the sizing of the grid. If we want to connect all this production without changing the rules, it means a lot of investments on the grid. And this, if we invest too much on the grid, we will have no more money to actually build wind farms and do the transition. So we have to find the balance. Dynamic operation of the grid. How can we use these new technologies to operate more dynamically? Give a forecast of the distribution grid load. New demand response solutions, especially for public lighting, which is a focus on our program, public buildings, and industrials. And demand response aggregator, so that we can give value to this little flexibilities that are spread on the territory, and as to give this value, how can we connect all the distribution issues into the market, the national markets that are now on the base of the transport and RTE and is effective now. So these are our issues, and this is you can see on the graphs the impact of a wind farm on the upper side, the production, and the impact that we can see on high to medium voltage transformers. And if we look at the trends, if we have today 9%, in the future we are looking forward to maybe 30, 50, maybe 80% in very long term of renewables. That means that the establishment will be at increasing distance from the transformers, and the cost will explode. So one of our issues is, if we dimension today a connection to be able to let through the 100% of the power every day of the year, what do we gain? What do we have to invest to lower a little bit the investments on this connection? This is the business model we have to look forward. So this means, I've already said, a dynamic forecast and demand response, which leads to a new business model with new actors, such as aggregator, the grid, the consumer, and the producer. And we, as a public authority, will have the responsibility to assure a good representation of each actors in the model. So our partners rapidly is SYDEV, ERDF, who conducts the grid, RTE, who is responsible of the transport grid, Actility, who is the commercial aggregator who does the link to the markets within our flexibilities, the CNAM, who has all the social acceptance and who is creating an engineering course in Vendée focused on smart grid issues. Legrand and Coffelineo, who will design new new smart operating for public lighting, public buildings, and Alstom Grid, our major partner, who is developing the distributed energy management system, who will allow to drive all these flexibilities. So rapidly, all the resources that make this demonstrator very special is that we have 6 transformers, high to medium voltage. We will have 4 central solar plants, 36 solar plants on buildings, 6 wind farms, 50 megawatt, 4 water production units, 100 public buildings, and more than 400 public lighting centers. So this is a very large scale, one of the largest in France. And that's why the issues of this project are important. To finish my presentation, this is a scheme of the communications that will be tested, mainly around what you see on the graph, the operating of the distribution grid with new management system to be able to have the forecast, what's going to happen an hour forward, and to be able to dynamically move the scheme of distribution. That includes the Linky project and provisional management. We have our flexibilities resources, which are owned by the SYDEV, and we will connect to the markets without the aggregation of actility. So we are at the beginning of the project. It's the budget is about 28 million euros. And we think that this project, which is more on how you can get an operation really going on, it's not really on technological progress, but more on the business and the model. How does it really work? And it opens a lot of opportunities for power electronics to find a business models to be introduced into industries, into public buildings, into every consumers and local production. Thank you very much for your attention. We have a website where you can find all the information, and that will be upgraded every year. Thank you very much.